Welcome again, Wildcats. All right, so today we're looking at Tuesday, April 25th, dividing polynomials, and that's going to be on page 76. So if you would, pause the video and update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at our notes. So I think these are going to be the shortest notes of the year, but I'm not sure. But really straightforward. So dividing polynomial methods. So there's three methods, okay? Method 1, you can factor. Method 2, long division. Method 3, you can do synthetic division. So if you would, pause the video and update your notes. All right, now that your notes are updated, let's take a look at our examples. All right, so we're going to look at example 1, 3, and 4. Now, because there's three methods, I figured I'd do three examples, one for each method. So example number 1, okay, we're going to factor. Okay, so when you factor, you're going to look at the numerator, and so you're going to look at, we know x squared, so 2 parentheses. Okay, now in order to make 3x squared, we know you have to have one's 3x and the other is x. Okay, now we know this is going to be divided by x minus 3. Okay, just throw that in there. Now let's go back to the factoring. All right, so what we then have to look at is what combinations make positive 3. Well, since the middle number is negative, we know that both of those numbers have to be negative. So we know that we have negative 1 times negative 3, and negative 2 doesn't work, and negative 3 times negative 1. Okay, so we know it's going to be negative 1 and negative 3. The question you have to think about is which one goes where. Well, I'm thinking the minus 3 is going to go here because 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Okay, and then I'm going to put the negative 1 here because negative 1 times x is negative 1, so that's going to give us the negative 10. Okay, so with it factored, we see that anything divided by itself is 1, so we have x minus 3 divided by x minus 3, which is 1. So we're left with 3x minus 1. All right, now I've done that factoring, and you're probably like, some of you might be like, what in the world are you talking about, Mr. Luke? So if you had trouble with the factoring in the video, remind me, and I'll show you how to factor using the box, okay, in class, for example 1, okay? All right, so take a few seconds to finish up example 1. All right, so we factored. So now that was one method. Now let's look at example 3. Now example 3, we're going to look at synthetic division. Now that might not drive you crazy, it's in lowercase and that's in capitals, but that's driving me crazy, so I'm going to rewrite that in lowercase. I know you're probably like, man, Mr. Luke, what are you doing? But there you go. So that's lowercase, this is lowercase, so now it's all, what's the word, consistent. All right, so synthetic division. Now synthetic division, you take this, but you do the opposite sign. So that's a minus 3, and you're going to divide with a positive 3. Okay, so when synthetic division, you take the coefficients in front of the x's and the constant. So that's 1, negative 2, 3, 1. Okay, so you bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Now you combine. So negative 2 combined with 3 is a positive 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Combine 3 and 3 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Combine, which is 19. Now, when you use synthetic division and long division, the powers you do. So this was to the 4th power. Now it reduces by 1, so it's to x third power. So you're left with x, 1x cubed plus 1x squared plus 6x plus 19. Okay, so take a few seconds to update that. Now let's look at example 4. All right, now we did synthetic division, we did factoring, now let's do long division. Okay, so long division. Okay, so take 2x plus 1 divided by 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Okay, so doing long division, you have to ask yourself, well, what do you multiply 2x to give you 4x squared? Well, the answer to that is 2x. Notice I'm keeping the x's lined up. Then you multiply 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. Now, you subtract, so that cancels. This becomes negative 14x. Bring down the 9. Now you need to ask yourself, well, what do you multiply 2x by to give you negative 14? Well, that's negative 7. So then you multiply negative 7 times 2x is negative 14x. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. You subtract, but when you subtract negatives, it changes the sign, so it's become positive. That cancels, you get 16. Okay? So you have 2x minus 7. Now, you have to add the remainder, but it's divided by the 2x plus 1. Okay? So that should get you started for Tuesday. And remember, I'm completely open to going back over and doing all those examples in class. Okay? So with that, have a wonderful, swimmerific in a pool Wildcat